guys, sorry to interrupt your video. Just a quick plea, subscribe to my channel please. If you haven't done it already, subscribe. Tell your friends, subscribe. Thanks. Alright, worn tyre treads are dangerous. Right, so they're not wrong. It's to do with the amount of water, as you can see here. Now these little blips in the middle, these things raised, they are 1.6 millimeters, just so you know. All tyres have got them. So yes, she showed you in that video at the start about the bevel around the outside of the 20p piece, which is 2 mil, fine, but you have also got this little gauge here, and here they are in the middle. See if I can zoom in on them for you. There you go, you've got some raised bits there and there. So if the tread itself runs flush with those, then you are down to 1.6 millimeters, which of course you should have changed them ages ago. So get them checked frequently and have a look. Now sometimes you're going to get tyres that are going to worn badly, and that can do with wheel balancing, tracking, and how you inflate them and all the rest of it. Now here we have tyres scuffed away, got clean on the edges, the inside edges. That would be to do with your tracking, which is where they're pointing. We'll come to that. There's a video on wheel balancing and tracking in a minute, which is where the wheels themselves are pointing. It's something that can burn your tyres away really quick. But as you notice here on these tyres, this one is worn away a bit in the middle, so he's recently overinflated tyres. He's mainly running on the central, didn't really get round to using the edges. This lot of bald, still got loads of tread over there, but because this part's bald, he's actually worn away half a tyre early, so he's actually halved the length of the time of his tyre. Now tyres can cost anything from like 40 quid up, so if you're halving the amount of time that tyre survives, you're only hitting yourself in the pocket here, and of course it burns more fuel to move them if they're not working properly. So they're just really expensive if you don't get it right. Right, top tips for prolonging the life of your tyres. Tyre pressures, that's the number one thing. If you have the correct tyre pressure, you're going to look after your tyres. They're going to last a lot longer. You're going to have better grip, better braking, better accelerating, better cornering, you name it. Wheel alignment. If the wheels are pointing in the wrong direction, which we'll come to, then they're going to be scrubbing the tyres away, as we saw in that picture. Invest in premium tyres. It's not a bad shout, you know. Yes, you can buy a budget tyre. I've bought them before, but they only last 10,000 miles. Buy a premium tyre, which is only 15 quid more, but it lasts 30,000 miles, so it lasts 3 times longer for only a small, it's not 3 times the cost, it's just like a small increase. So actually it can be false economy to buy budget tyres. Just food for thought on that one. Side wall damage. The rules, the law states that you've got to have no cuts, bulges, anything like that on the tyres. Now here we have a perfectly good tyre. It tells you the size of the tyre and its ratings and all the rest of it, and it's perfectly good, nice condition. Here however we've got a cut, and you can actually see the interior of the tyre, what it's constructed of, and that's hit a curb and that's punched a hole out, so that makes that tyre illegal. So don't care how much tread you've got, the fact that you've got a cut in the tyre wall makes it structurally unsound and so therefore illegal. Here we have a bulge. Now we can get that if you hit a pothole, yeah, which we were probably going to come to in a minute actually with regards to the balancing. So have a look. If you've got any bulges, it's because you've hit a pothole, hit a curb, something like that. Probably your tyres were underinflated when you hit it, and they weren't, because there wasn't enough air in there to resist the impact, it's then damaged your sidewall. So if you get bulges, that also is illegal. So cuts, bulges, any foreign objects, like here we've got a screw stuck in there, sharp objects, that makes your tyre illegal. Well, if it's right in the middle actually you can probably repair that, but if it's on the sidewall then they can't repair it because they can't put a puncture repair kit on it. So must have at least 1.6 mil in the central 3/4, so below there, around the entire tyre. no cuts or bulges, and you must have at least no foreign objects stuck in it. Okay, so that's that one. Correct tyre pressures. Right, here we go. So, Le Continental Tyres. If you do the correct pressure, then you get a nice flat surface touch in the floor. When you're under inflated, then it can't push, it goes all blamongy and it goes, it just bowls out. Now that means you've got more tyre touch in the floor, which means it takes more energy to move the tyre down the road because it's just flapping around. Your cornering is worse, your braking is worse because the tyre doesn't grip the road properly. What you've got here is a lovely big surface area touching the floor because you've got the correct tyre pressure. Here you've got half the amount of tyre touching the floor, and if you overinflate it, only the middle touches it. So therefore you see we get much more grip on the floor. This actually blamonges but doesn't, it sort of sticks to the road, it flops around a lot, and so you burn a lot of fuel trying to do that, but it doesn't really give you much grip because it wobbles, there's no structural integrity there. So we don't want too low, we don't want too high, we want it just right, the Goldilocks. Now do bear in mind that when you put air pressure in a tyre, that's at atmospheric pressure, and so we should fill up a tyre when the tyre pressures are cold. If you think about a tyre, it's basically a balloon, and when you fill it with air, it's full of air, right? But when you drive the car, the rubber hitting the floor and flexing around heats up the tyre. That would heat up the air, and we know anything as it expands when you heat it up. So therefore, the air inside will get bigger, but there's nowhere for it to go. Therefore, the pressure goes up. So if you run a tyre, the legal requirement is that you must have at least what the owner's manual states for your particular car, depending upon what axle it's on, i.e. front or rear. So if I were to fill it up first thing in the morning, let's say I put 30 psi, pounds per square inch, in there, and I go for a drive, if I then measured it again at the other side, the pressure might be higher, 33 psi, something like that, because the tyres are warmed up and they've gone up. So the flip side of that is, if you were to inflate your tyres when your tyres are warm, when they cool down again, the pressure will drop. So you could technically find yourself with your tyres underinflated, and the law states you must always have at least the pressure that's in the owner's manual. So your best bet is, if you're heating up your tyres or filling them up when they're warm, I would always go and put in about 3 psi more. If you have got cold tyres, just inflate it to what the manufacturer states. And of course the amount of air that you need to be in there is dependent upon the weight that you're putting over the axle as well. So make sure you read your owner's manual. Here we go. There you go. Look, if you, I mean, you know yourselves that they're saying it's harder to cycle a bicycle if you've got flat tyres than it is if you've got inflated tyres. So, you know, you're burning more energy just to get the thing moving. Same with a car. You can save a lot of fuel on your build just by regularly checking your tyre pressure. Probably, well, a lot varies wildly. People say once a month, something like that. I have a quick look around once a week, once a month. It's okay. Tyre pressure monitors, you can get those on cars. Mine's got them built into it. It's fine. Great if you hit something and you get a pothole. Right, wheel balancing. And this is a question that comes up about, you can feel a vibration coming through. I've got a couple of videos from Perfect Equipment. They're designed more for the engineers who actually fit tyres, so this is more of an internal training video. So I've cut out all the American guff at the beginning when they're setting the scene, and I'll probably stop it short as well to cut bits out. But this is all about your balancing.
Wheel assemblies consist of a wheel and a tire. When combined together, they are designed to rotate around their center axis, which is attached to the vehicle's axle with lug nuts. When a wheel assembly rotates, especially at high speeds, it exerts a centrifugal force on the axle that depends on the location of the exact center of the wheel assembly. In a perfect world, the exact center of a wheel assembly would be, in fact, placed in the exact center of the axle. This would mean the assembly could spin perfectly at any speed with even weight distribution on all sides. From the front or from the side, you can see that the wheel is spinning in perfect proportion. However, wheels and tires are not manufactured in a perfect world, and even though they are both built to extremely tight tolerances, weight imbalances are unavoidable. Nearly every wheel has some type of imbalance or heavy spot, noted in blue on the illustration. And most every tire has an imbalance, noted in green on the illustration. These weight imbalances are typically very minimal in size. When you consider that a typical passenger car tire mounted on an alloy wheel weighs about 40 pounds, it's amazing that the total amount of imbalance is typically no more than 2 ounces, or about 1/3 of 1%. However, any imbalance is a hazard. Due to the weight imbalance, the exact center of the tire is compromised and the assembly rotates unevenly, often causing wheels to hop and wobble. In fact, a small imbalance of just 1/2 ounce at a speed of 65 miles per hour creates an outward centrifugal force equal to that of a sledgehammer. To offset this imbalance, a weight of some type must be applied opposite the imbalance area to equal out the weight distribution. This is shown in red on our example. With the proper amount of weight applied to the light side, or the opposite side of the imbalance, the wheel can now rotate with perfect balance. When discussing wheel imbalance, it is important to remember that wheels and tires are manufactured with unavoidable imbalances. The average amount of imbalance in an assembly is 2 ounces, or roughly 1/3 of 1% of the total assembly weight. A 1/2 ounce imbalance at 65 miles per hour has the same centrifugal force equal to that of a sledgehammer. And when an unbalanced wheel assembly rotates, it hops and wobbles. So how does wheel imbalance affect the comfort and safety of a vehicle? Imbalanced wheel assemblies increase vibration, especially at highway speeds. Increased vibration can decrease steering sensitivity, making it harder to handle a vehicle and increasing the possibilities of the vehicle swaying and drifting while on the road. This can be a danger to the driver and other vehicles. The increased vibration also causes suspension system components and tires to wear unevenly, which drastically increases braking distance. This could become a serious issue if the imbalance is allowed to remain for a lengthy period of time. Wheel imbalance can also have financial impacts, as increased vibration decreases fuel mileage and tire tread life. It is important to remember that wheel imbalance decreases steering sensitivity, increases vehicle sway and drifting, increases braking distance, decreases the life of suspension systems and tires, decreases fuel mileage, and decreases comfort.
So now you know. Notice how it says that it also wears your tyres unevenly, so you've got stuff moving around.